Welcome back to the Oasis, everybody. 4 weeks ago, we began this current season of spiritual growth here in the Oasis. And today, let's recap what we've covered. Number one, who are we as anointed light leaders and world servers? And what are we doing in this great commission during this pivotal time in human consciousness? Number two, what is ascension? Individual and collective, and what's the best way to do it? Number three, what is sovereignty? This fresh word, this new promise that's been laid on our hearts, this frequency or spiritual wave that is rippling through our communities, even in the darkest hours. And number four, what is truth? In this bizarre age where reality depends on your lens and where deep fake artificial projections and split experiences are broadcast at nanospeed across the globe, how do we spot truth? These are the 4 items that we've covered in the Oasis this month, and today I'll synthesize them down. And then after this presentation, we'll open our group discussion and we'll hear from the true light leaders who are following Christ, whatever their religious identity. And we'll hear what you have discovered in these last few weeks. So first, who are we, the anointed light leaders and world servers? And what are we doing in this great commission during this pivotal time in human consciousness? Well, in every generation, across all the epochs of the human experience, there is a wave of forerunners or spiritual pioneers who serve as leaders in consciousness and vibration. We are the ones who know that love is the truth, and that the truth is love, and that the truth sets us free. We are the ones who know that freedom is not confined to certain theologies or states of purity. And we are the ones who feel a sense of purpose in sharing that freedom, which we do through our individual missions, where we are the spiritual leader of perhaps our family or our community, a business or an industry, or maybe a wider social mission. A genuine light leader can be recognized by our love. You can tell us by the spark in our eye and by the fruits of the way we live our life. For example, peace, poise, power, presence, patience, and an abundance of grace. No matter what's going on around us, these are some fruits of the Spirit. And there are also signs and wonders that follow us as well, of course, but not because we're manifesting them by our works and our modalities, but just because the miraculous life, the consecrated path, is an organic consequence of spiritual maturity, higher logs of consciousness. Because we have all the power of the universe behind us and flowing through us, and we are limited only by our faith and how we allow ourselves to believe. To the mass collective, Jesus said that the highest commandment is to love, and that is indeed enough to live a free life. But to the light leaders of the world, he also gave a specific operative commandment, actually a series of specific operative commandments. For example, in a safe and private space, Jesus collected us all together and he gave us all of his authority. He said, "As my Father sent me, I now send you." And he asked us to go out into the world and to share the good news that the energetic bonds of karma have been dissolved through a universal application of grace. It's like a metaphysical mystery, but he told us that love is the way and the truth and the life itself, and that we should demonstrate this by the way we live our life. Love, you see, is the primordial nature of the universe, and everything that is not love will be alchemized in its presence. And that's why he also said that when we accept this commission to go out and be light leaders, that we will experience, see, have extraordinary vibrational mastery. He told us that we would be able to transmute negative energy, that we'd be able to create languages and new ways of communicating, that we would easily be able to deal with trolls on social media, false teachers, bad leaders, oligarchs and tyrants. He said we would be able to withstand the toxins and the pathogens that our bodies consume through our environments. So not to be afraid of 5G frequencies and solar flares. He said that we will be able to heal things of the natural world, including our bodies and our rivers. And you can read John chapter 20 or Mark chapter 16 if you would like the biblical reference for those promises. So with this authority and with this sovereignty, our commission is to go out into the world and bring others in to the body of love. And if they believe that love is the way and love is the truth and love is the life, then they will phenomenologically manifest a life of freedom. And if they don't believe these things, if they continue to believe in a linear reality where certain conditions must be met, then they will continue their enslavement to the systems of nature or culture or economy or whatever. So how do we do this? How are we doing this commission? That depends on our individual missions, right? And the way that we've been raised by God to contribute to this wider plan. Perhaps we write books, or teach children, or grow tomatoes in little urban gardens. Perhaps we sit in boardrooms or report from war zones. Perhaps we sweep streets or raise money or build churches or online courses or fight for justice or give therapy or make art and music. It doesn't matter really. What matters, what we have in common is that we are doing good for God, to liberate all the world from the energetic feedback systems that have resulted from hundreds of thousands of years of inverted evolution. So reflect on your spiritual leadership. Who is following you? Who depends on your presence and power to light the way for them in this season? And what are the gifts and the modalities that God has given you to work with? That was our first week in this season of spiritual growth. And then in our second week, we looked at the distinction between ascension and sovereignty. So let's ask the question again. What is ascension? The sovereign way to understand ascension is not as a sort of singular event of transfiguration, where your cells burst into light and you become a multidimensional entity. It's truer to think of ascension as an organic and gradual illumination of the mind, the energy field, and the body, which happens naturally as we integrate the truth that we encounter through our own life's experiences. And this steadily liberates our energy fields from the unconscious patterns that keep us locked in karma. If we use the Hawkins scale to calibrate consciousness, here we go. If we use the Hawkins scale, this was devised by Dr. David Hawkins in the 1990s. And we pretend, there's a pretend scale. Let's pretend that at the top, we will call 1000. Here we have a human mind that has 100% accepted and integrated the knowing that I am that I am, that all the universe is light and good, and that is true for me and you and everything else. If this is 100% integrated, then you have all the authority of consciousness to influence creativity, to influence the energy which moves form. And that's why at this level, you could command water molecules to hold you as you walk upon the surface of the water. And then let's say that at the bottom of this scale, we'll call it 0, we have the opposite. This is the opposite. I am not. There is no light. There is no good. There is no purpose and no point. So we'll call this Christ, and we'll call this Antichrist. Ascension, then, is the process of spiritual maturity as we go from shame to guilt, to apathy, to anger, to pride, to integrity, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. And the process of ascension is the gradual illumination of the mind and integration of the truth that the entire universe is source, spirit, and substance, good and light and becoming. And of course, because we manifest what we believe, as we ascend this imaginary scale, we also experience corresponding energy attractor fields that create vibrational realities that matches that particular log of consciousness. So as we ascend, we increasingly experience the fruits of the spirit because there is less of our ego in the way of the flow of unconditional love. This is an organic and universal process that all human souls will go through. We experience it personally and individually, but because we're all entangled, we must also experience it collectively. And we will not be done with the process until everyone is done with the process. This is Romans chapter 8, verses 19 to 23. The creation waits in eager expectation for the revelation of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not by its own will, but because of the one who subjected it, in hope that creation itself will be set free from its bondage to decay and brought into the glorious freedom of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until the present time. Not only that, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for our adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies. Wow! What Paul is writing about here is, number one, the quantum entanglement. All of creation has been subject to the energetic laws of creation that cause entropy, or as he writes, decline or decay. And he understands the quantum entanglement. That means that whatever is occurring in you is also occurring in me. There is no way to isolate myself from the energetic effects of our collective, which means I cannot ensure my own ascension and my own enlightenment unless I'm also there for you and yours. We cannot do anything to manufacture or architect this process of ascension, but there are things we can do to get out of the way. And those are listed in this book called The Sovereign Way, which you can find on Amazon. There are 8 masteries in here, masteries for how to hold yourself in a state of spiritual poise so that this process can occur organically without too much influence from your own ego and from the other forces of reality. So if that's the answer, or the answer we're going to go with to what is ascension, then let's ask, what is sovereign? If Jesus Christ has liberated us from the energetic creation systems that keep our subconscious in charge of what may be possible for us and how the law of attraction may work for us, then what does that mean phenomenologically, if it really is true that we create what we believe? In other words, if we are saying that we create what we believe and thus we are enslaved to our own subconscious beliefs or limiting paradigms, what does it mean for us in terms of what we're manifesting if it's true that Jesus Christ has liberated us from all those unseen systems? Well, if I am a human being who experiences the whole range of this scale of consciousness, how can I ever ascend if there are frequencies of shame and anger manifesting reality around me, both from my own subconscious and from your subconscious too? How can I climb this imaginary scale of consciousness if I'm shackled to my own guilt through the bonds of karma and energetic attractor fields? Well, I can try to purify my mind, to purify my energy field and my body by doing all the shadow work, by following all the right rules and all the diets and all the ideologies, healing every wound, completing every intergenerational debt, repairing every strand of DNA, balancing every chakra, and getting my environmental energy grid perfectly restored in the best level of feng shui. But that just isn't possible in an entangled world where what happens between the bloodthirsty dictator and the starving child directly affects me. In fact, what happens on the other side of the galaxy directly affects me. How can I possibly be free if your mood affects me? I need an intercessor. I need a field of mercy that allows me to be free in mind and vibration, no matter where I wake up on that scale this morning. If this is me, and I am attempting to ascend in consciousness, but I have energetic links to everything that's been incomplete before me, then I need an intercessor that already holds all the authority that's possible for a human to hold that space for me and to cover me in that field of mercy. You see, when love is in the presence of not love is alchemized. So to be sovereign is to be divine and human, not escaping my humanity to become a divine expression, but to be already divine in my humanity. For example, if I can feel shame but still show myself, I am sovereign. If I can feel guilt and still move forward, I am sovereign. If I can feel anger and not throw a rock at my neighbor, then I am sovereign. If I can dedicate my life to searching out truth and still not get tangled up in conspiracy theories and ideologies, then I am sovereign. If I can bring my body and my energy field to a super high vibration and still go and sit with a filthy alcoholic and listen to his story and lay my hands over the wounds on his leg without worrying about soaking up his high vibes because his low vibes because I'm such an empath, then I am sovereign. If I can be friends with kings and paupers alike, then I am sovereign. So to be sovereign is neither to be ascended, high vibe, or spiritually pure, although it doesn't exclude those states. It is to be free. Free to move where God says. Free to choose love no matter what turbulence is occurring around me. Free to choose the will of the Father over the will of the world, or the will of my prideful whims and addictions, of which there are many. To be sovereign is to have the highest power and authority of all, which in an entangled universe is only possible to experience inside that intercession field that keeps me protected from all other fields of attraction, including 5G, Mercury retrograde, solar flares, gluten, and oligarchs and tyrants. This is why Jesus Christ is our savior. He is the sovereign one in whom I am free. Is it John 4:20 when he says, and on that day when you're free, on that day you will realize that I am in my Father, and you are in me, and I am in you. That's why Jesus Christ is our Savior. He is the sovereign one in whom I am free. Martin says, John 14:20. Thank you, Martin. Okay, so if we've answered who are we, the light leaders of the world, and what are we doing, and we've answered what is ascension, and now we've answered what is sovereignty, we also covered what is truth in this bizarre age where reality can depend on your lens. This is a really weird time now where we have these deep fake artificial projections. We have these hyper-real simulations, these super realistic humanoid robotics, and split experiences are being broadcast at nanospeed across the globe. And everyone is entitled to their truth with a lowercase t. And everyone is individually manifesting some sort of vibrational reality based on their truth with a lowercase t. Then how do we spot universal truth with a capital T, the truth that transcends time and cultural propriety? In our group, the Oasis, we covered 40 characteristics of truth and the light leaders who embody it. Now, we agree that what we consider to be real depends on our perspectives and frameworks of understanding. It must be so. That's how consciousness works. And we also agree that our realities are made of cognitive dissonance and the way that adamantine particles react to the law of attraction. And this can make it hard to discern when we are following the way and when we're following some sort of spun nonsense. But there are some things that are absolutely true. Love will never require families to be separated from each other. Love will never turn away the hungry, lost, or lonely. Love will never demand conformity or punish those who don't conform. Love will never demand positionality, for it is always in a superposition quantum state, omnipresent and free for all. Love will never require certain conditions of mind or body to be met before you can know God. Love will never force, nor intimidate, and certainly not threaten. It has no need for that. The characteristics of universal love that never waver across the ages and epochs of the human condition are to be found in Jesus Christ. He embodies the expression of God and makes it possible for us to relate to the divine in a human way. So I recommend that you find the link on this channel and go to the YouTube channel to find the full teaching called How to Spot Truth. It covers 40 characteristics, universal characteristics that will help you discern transcendental truth that is not subject to the way the world happens to be. And it is more important now than ever before that we don't let the veil get pulled over our eyes as light leaders who are on commission to do good for God. So now that we have these distinctions in place, thank you, January 2025, for helping us get this solid foundation in place. Now we are able to move on in the sovereign way. We know who are the light leaders and what we're doing. We know what ascension is. We know what sovereignty is. We know how to discern truth. So now we will start to move into the sovereign way. Beginning in February, we will cover basic creation dynamics involved in healing, manifesting, and advanced discernment. We'll get to understand Christ, and we'll go deeper into the Great Commission and what your place is within that greater unfolding plan. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Please do like and comment and share this video and help us to spread the sovereign way. And if you would like to join our discussion group, come and see. The link is on this channel. Thank you.